Hello, everyone. Yeah, this is my very first time here as speaker in the in the like event like this as well. Yeah, it's like something wrong with my presentation. So we're gonna have on this session, right? So like of course I begin the topic without the test name, the same way we write the romantic name. So we write the romantic song, right? So the topic is about how we write the end-to-end test, but not about writing it. How we make sure that whatever end-to-end test that we are going to run is going to be super stable and fast, right? So anyone here, are there someone with the that work with the role of the software automation engineer, right? The test automation engineer. Anybody here? Cool. It sounds like. You never test it. Oh, yeah. That is a good thing. But how do you know that your software works? But you didn't test it.
If customer complain, it's not good.
Oh, okay. Okay, that sounds like a good idea to view the software as well, right? So obviously, like the same motto can also do with the elevator. So today, if we don't test the elevator, what happens? Would you like to jump into the elevator that does not get properly tested and lick your life as the testing material? Sounds interesting. Oh, so yeah, opt me out. I probably don't want. So testing the software is a matter of take a care and make the software reliable for the user, like despite they are customer or non-customer, right? So we being responsible for what we deliver to them, right? So wrong software rule or automation, wrong software rule or functional can cause the business loss, and it can also go back as a punishment on our backlog, on your backlog, on my backlog as a bug to fix. So we begin like our unended journey of fixing the bugs. But I do understand one thing, that software testing is costly. Really costly. Is not easy stuff to be conduct with, right? So we have the easy way that we try to do, and everyone probably familiar with it, which is the unit testing, right? The real problem with the unit testing is it actually tests one thing in too much isolation, but the software itself does not work in isolate. We can test how our JSON stringify works, but we never test whatever real credit card transaction like that got performed on our system. That can be the case as well, right? So we don't want to deliver the software that will end up as creating the damage to the user or to to ourselves in the long run. So, but how can we write the test effectively? Right? So, so I begin the session. Right, this session is about conducting a test. Yeah. So a lot of text here. You can capture and read it later. I already mentioned. Right. So today we like what I am going to show you is the ability to run whatever end-to-end test with 1 minute per test case, within 1 minute. And end-to-end means if you're working with the website application, You start your website, you start your BFF, and you configure everything and run your UI test, right? The full UI test, right? And also, in the matter of really high reliability. So it means that when your test fail, most of the time it's because of your functional, not the system or environment overall, right? So, right, when we, and then it can also make it parallel. So I'm not sure I can share, but today at the team I work with, we run this kind of tests, like I think more than 100. I don't remember the number. And the pipeline that why that and run this test, it's done within 15 minutes with 90% plus stability. This is the number that I know, right? So, and the second thing is, second bullet is something that I think everyone familiar with it, right? When you work with a system, right, you develop the set of knowledge on how your business works, right, on how your system performs with the business, on how the like the system dynamic, mean how system like glue to each other and deliver the result, right? So the problem about this thing is if you don't have the proper way to record the functionality as well as the validating your software functional, you will become the bottleneck. What does it mean for bottleneck? Think about the situation that everyone had to run to you, asking you how this thing works, how this feature works, how the login work, how the inventory works, right? How this particular set of the function works, and they need to rely on you, like, and you cannot do anything else because this question will go to you every time, right? And as some worst case, when you leave or the person who work on this particular function left the company or left the team, like this code becomes something we call legacy because we don't know what it is. We just know that we don't. If we don't touch it, everything works. And if we touch it, yeah, something funny happened. Like don't touch it on Friday evening, everything is okay. So, but how can we get out of this situation? How can we document the business rule, the software functionality rule, and use it as our testing? Why? It have a less copying to the system. Right? Copying means think about unit tests, right? When you refactor, all unit tests probably can compile, and you need to change all unit tests to conform with whatever you refactor, and you start to wondering whether you fix the test correctly or not. This is where the unit test introduce a copying to the system. So how can we make a test to be more like black box that have less copying? Of course, we still need to have some copying, like the same tech stack, some kind of same platform. But at least we want to have a test that number one, we understand, and everyone who read this understand, and it perform separately, disregard on our system's implementation. So to long on it, like I think some of you already know the answer, right? So to write the requirement, we use Cucumber and Gherkin, right? Gherkin is a language. Sorry, Gherkin is the language, and then Cucumber itself is the more like the name of the platform, right? Right. I think you probably know the term called given when then. Right. On this attempt, what we're gonna do is we're gonna use Cucumber to specify the system environment in the way that you want it to be. For instance, if you're working on the large application or some application with the server side and client side, right? Your application will be stacked in a way like you have the React client or Angular client, whatsoever web client. Then you have backend for front end that dealing with the data fetching and a lot of backend that you don't control, right? So we will use Cucumber to precondition those backend in a way that we can be sure that whatever we mark as a mock or precondition are properly validated with the provider, or can be, at least it can be, right? So we come into the second step. Means we want to use, normally when we write the test, right, you use test and then you probably mock some some class, some instance, some function to return what you expect, right? So, but at this time, we will use PACT to mock the whole server. And we will start the server on the test every time, right? So think about your test case, one of your scenario, you configure how your backend gonna behave, and then you perform some action, and then you can expect the immutable result, right? So on this session, I will use just Elysia. I think I heard the good name here, Bun and React to demonstrate the idea, right? But this idea also works with another kind of application. We also use this similar idea on our web page that we built today. Right? So, before we go, right, one big mistake when we are using Cucumber is, right, Cucumber itself is not the test case. It's the matter of how you document your requirement and use it as your test case, right? You probably work on the company that asks you to, hey, just write Cucumber, and maybe you have a lot of the long Cucumber file that you don't understand what it is, right? So, Cucumber itself will only and always have 3 stages, right? So other thing else are considered as anti-pattern, right? So we describe the immutable system condition before action happening on events. So you start your test case on given, you describe how your database behave, how the backend behave, how your browser gonna be, right? You have to describe everything under given. And then you describe the action that the user, if you build the end user application, or the event, if you build the event application or backend, right? Describe the action on when. Preferably, use only single when cause, right? Because multiple when cause most of the time will make your test become something else, right? So, and it most of the time create the anti-pattern. And then on the last section, it's just then. Then is the expectation. So you know precondition, you said given I have this. When this happen, then this is my result. For instance, I am a user. I have credit card. When I put my credit card on the system, then my credit card will be saved on the system, right? So it's just simple precondition and then action and then outcome. Or if you're familiar with another form of test, especially in the unit test pattern, it is called arrange, assign, and assert. Same pattern, different name, right? And why Cucumber? I already spoke about it, right? The problem about the integration test is the dynamic. Anyone here work with the game company before? Like anyone here do game? Yeah, no. On the game industry, right? If you build a game, there are a concept. It's called like mechanic, dynamic, and aesthetic MDA. Right. So the concept is easy. Mechanic is the rule of the like system or your game. Dynamic is how the user gonna use the mechanic or app use the mechanic. So they give the dynamic. So they give the aesthetic or feeling. Right. So the dynamic in this context, it means that the system when it got glue together or work together, right? They have many preconditions, many stuff can happen, and we can have many outcome based on each like condition, right? Let's say server down or server start to return captcha, and then we need to like figure it out how to deal with it, right? So on Cucumber, it provides the very good pattern on how we deal with the dynamic or address the non-dynamic, right? So based on given when then cost. And with those given when then, it also allows us to run some rinsing rule to ensure that all of the test case or the way we write or address the test case are properly conducted, right? So yeah, of course, you can also use JSON another form, like, but also to make sure that your integration test work in the way that you can use it for document, like this pattern of arrange, assign, assert are required. Right. Otherwise, if you do the model-based testing, anyone here know the term called model-based testing? Anyone here used to work with the QA, and QA draw you a figure on the feature and then draw the mind mapping on how things gonna work? Yeah, you can start that. So yeah, so I used to work with that like mechanic as well. We call this model-based testing, where you model your problem and you try to understand the like every possible outcome. And the problem with that outcome is too complicated. Like you, let's say you build a simple Agoda website. It's not simple, by the way. So, so you have to start from the first page, right? You search for the hotel, and then you go to the room. You select room. You go to booking form. You do the payment. You check the after booking or like MMB page. This is what we call like I don't remember the full name, right? So you check your bookings, and then this is the end of the test case. Think about you need to write the automation from the first page to the last page, how long it's going to take. And how hard it's going to make you need to precondition your application. Right? Like, it's going to be difficult, right? So that's why we need some pattern, some right pattern to ensure that we know what we are testing, right? So I think I speak a lot of boring principle. I want to build something now, and that is the way I speak. So yeah, one motto that I love about being agile with working software is the measure of progress. So yeah. So we want to build something. Oops, too small. We want to build a basic online rock, paper, scissors game using server client, right? So the mechanic, the game rule mechanic is simple. We have rock, win, scissors. Everyone know it. Everyone know how to play, right? So and some constraint to make sure that we don't or I don't overcomplicate the example I gonna demonstrate you is we're gonna have server side will randomly pick the answer, and then we'll decide whether the game who win the game, to be precise, right? So, and then we have a client side that just send the information on what you pick to the server, and server will tell you whether you win or lose the game. Easy, simple mechanic, right? I put the QR code here. You can scan. It's not the prompt pay. It's the link to the GitHub. So it's like later sure, right? So yeah, the tech stack is simple. We have packed. We have this blue box. It's called test container. Anyone here know Docker? Yeah, I think everyone know, right? Docker test container itself is the way that you write the program on your favorite language that talk to the Docker engine, the same way that you write the Docker file. Right? It allows us to dynamically create a container at the need, or programmatically create a container at the need of our requirement, and we're going to use it to create our mock server. Right. Yeah, just small thing. Kubernetes also do the same thing as the test container, but with larger scale, right? So another thing we're gonna do is the CucumberJS. Right? Actually, they have many languages, but since we are BKK.js, so I use JS at this session. And also, I think everyone know this icon. Like we're gonna use Bun to build the application, right? The reason I choose Bun because it looks cute, nothing in particular. Yeah, and yeah, we use another framework, a popular framework from Thai engineer, right? I don't remember who built it. It's called Elysia. Nice name, I like it. Yeah, cool. So let's see how we can build this software and piece the information together, right? So client side handle the user input, send to the server, server decide whether you win or lose, right? And server are random. In this situation, the server we are going to build will produce a random output. So if you want to build a test case that end-to-end, like it's going to be very difficult to predict the server outcome, right? Which luckily is the same way as the software dynamic that we are working on, right? And when you work on many teams, server team can change the behavior of the server without inform you. So in this example, I'm going to demonstrate you the way we can mock those server in the way that we can ensure that the server knows what they are doing. Right. And then everything decided by the server side, where client will be served under dev server, because I don't want to make a Stub super complicated, right? So the client side will have the BFF backend for front end as the dev server, right? So how can we make it happen? At first, right, I want to be BDD. I really want to be BDD. I am the big fan of BDD, so I start the project. I hope it, I think it's a little bit too small. Okay. Okay. The battery is out for both microphones. So yeah. So we I don't know how to make it bigger, but yeah, the example project contains 3 folders, right? The first folder is the acceptance, means when we do BDD, we create the acceptance test, right? So, and the second server, this server is a little bit tricky. It should be on different GitHub, but I want to make it simple, so I put it here. Right, the server side, consider the server side is as some server that another person, not you or not your team or not your company built, right? You just write the client that consume the data from them, right? So, and then client is what we are going to test, right? So what we are going to do is two things. We want to do BDD, and we want to do the second technique called consumer-driven contract testing. Right. Anyone know this term before? Oh yeah, don't, who know? Yeah. So don't. Yeah.
Maybe you need to zoom in your IDE a bit. It's kind of too small.
I can. But I think I need to open it here.
Control.
Yeah. So, let's see how to make it bigger. Yeah. มันไม่ใหญ่ขึ้น ไม่ขึ้น มันต้อง หรือว่าเราดูใน GitHub ได้มีเทลฮะ
Visual Studio Code ใช่ไหมครับเดี๋ยวเปิด VS Code หน่อยได้ไหมครับ
VS Code
โอเคครับประมาณบวก
อ๋อ Okay. Yeah, it's a little bit of the technical hassle. So yeah, going back to our beloved like server. So we want to begin the acceptance test because we want to write a test first. So we want to be real test driven, right? And also we want to make sure that our test server are very stable. So we want to use the consumer driven contract testing. Like under the hood, it's just simple way to write the mock server, and it's gonna generate the rule of that mock server. Means this request is gonna respond like this, and both request and response will be called contract, and it's gonna get used by the server side to validate that chain against us. So the concept is pretty simple. It just if you're working as a backend engineer, you probably have a lot of questions on whether I change the behavior or change the API. If it's going to block my website or someone will consume my API or not. Or if you are working with the front-end API, you probably want to make sure that server does not send something strange, right? And consumer-driven contract testing work in that way. But we will begin first with the feature file first. Here is how I write the feature file. Very simple. I begin first with the rule. Rule, simple term, not fancy like scenario. Rule is you describe what can do, what cannot do, right? So this is what the rule said. A match will decide a winner based on the option payer and NPC pick. Right. So scenario will be easy, right? You pick something, server decide whether you win or lose, and then you show to the user, right? So yeah, you pick. Yeah, I put the bullet on given and when and then like this. So it's probably hard to understand, but let me show you the real working software. Right? Okay, this is the real working software. Like really, yeah, the UI is pretty rough. So rock, paper, scissors, you pick one, and then, yeah, if you are lucky, you win. Yeah, if you are not lucky, you lose. Server will randomly give the response. And now the challenge is we need to make sure that we create the test that we be able to run it properly. Right, and it should be end-to-end test. Like we can make the test very stable by writing the unit test on each component by render the component and then override some mock, right? But now I don't want that component. I want to be end-to-end. So the game works like this. the rules are on the server side, and we have to test it. So what we do first, we create the feature file like this. Right? If you work with the team, with the business, or with the customer, this is where you need to write the document on, and this document will serve as your
Everything broken. Jingly. Yeah.
Yes,
Yes, yeah, we have authorization before this,
yeah.
so they might already drain all batteries.
Yeah, the battery is out. So yeah. So we want continue after that. So we have the feature file ready here, right? So we build the server and client, right? Then we start building the code, right? So we want some UI since it's tangible and we can like touch it and feel it. We build the UI first. So we start build the UI. We bootstrap this one via run init command, and then boom, everything happened here, right? Then we go into app.tsx, right? Since it's gonna be very simple. What we're gonna do is we create the app component, and app component have one function that called handle pay. In each handle pay, it is the event that got fired after on click on each button that we create below. Right? We create 3 buttons, lock paper sister. We put data test ID, so it is easier for like automation test. Then this one, after you click on each button, it sends the request to the API. Right? Normally this one you probably done it to your backend for front end, like your front end code probably don't look like this. But since I want to demonstrate you fast, so like the API itself have one function, extra function, so we can override the target API on each time you start the server, right? Or start the UI. Now the UI is done, you just send the API, and the API is API mesh action. Like just we send the action to API on the mesh, right? So then respond, nothing fancy unless it's error. We do not we just set the the data that respond from the API design, right? So resolve it here. No logic in the client side. Then the API we build it. So let's say we are on different team. We build this API. Then we start it on the Elysia server, right? So we create one action here, one post action here, receive the body, receive the player action, and then randomly pick the NPC choice, NPC non-player character, right? NPC choice, and then it evaluates whether you or them or NPC are the winner, right? Evaluation is easier, like not that big deal. So we just do some small calculation here. It is a server-side audit, so we will skip. But this thing works. So, yep. After that, the most challenging part is here. So we want to build the automation, right? So we use this package. So at first, what we do is run at. So we use run at Cucumber at PACT Foundation for our consumer-driven contact testing. And test library, this one is not needed. I just use it for boilerplate code. And then, yeah, this one is as I/O. We need it for doing some magic behind. Get port as well to doing some magic behind. And then another one, test container. Right. Another one is the node, obviously. Right. So we have Playwright. So everyone fancy about Playwright, despite it's just the wrapper of the Selenium. But it's good wrapper, by the way. So yeah, we have Playwright here. So how do we define the test, right? So in Cucumber JS, right, the pattern that we work with the Cucumber JS tend to be different than other languages. So like yeah. So what we do here is we create a step binding. Like every time when you have the feature file but don't have the step binding and you run the Cucumber, it's gonna tell you or generate the snippet that you can copy and paste into the new into your bindings, which I can show you for a moment. So let me rename this. So cool. So yeah. So we run it with run. Yeah, you see. Oops. So it will generate the snippet of the step binding, like pretty different than Java or C# if you work with C# or other language that have the code generator. This one is generated on during your run, and you need to copy and paste on your step bindings. And after that, you need to do some like template thing to make sure that you can pass the value with the template properly, right? So yeah, this one is too detailed. You can check the document later, right? So what I did here is I copy everything, and then the next thing is on the given cost, I have the global global variables address here or world object. If you're familiar with JavaScript, right? So TypeScript does not have world object, so I need to declare it like this. Then this one will collect the test state. Fortunately, on each Cucumber run, this global will be different. This object will be different on each run. Like stand for the Cucumber folks, right? So we collect the precondition from the given cost here, and we do nothing fancy, right? We don't perform any interaction. We don't even open the browser here, right? On our given code, it's more like builder pattern. If you familiar with it, like you configure your object this way, and you build it. And now we're gonna go to the more exciting part, which is when. Like, on when, this is where the action got performed. We set up the server, we set up the mock server, and then we perform the action on this method. But how can I set up the server here? Right. So let's start with the first function. There are a few steps that I create here, right? Number one, we want to build the PACT contract, build game server contract. Then we start.
Sorry to disturb. You are running out. I'm afraid you already run out of time, so maybe you can take like another 5 minutes.
Oh yeah. So sorry for running out of time. So yeah. Let's continue fast. Then we have the server here. We have the server, and then this is where we start the PACT server, right? So how PACT work? Let's go to build game contract, right? Build game contract itself will invoke PACT. What we did here, the first line is bootstrap. You can check how PACT works. The most interesting part are here. So you configure how your server gonna behave here. Then you run, verify, and finalize. So PACT gonna dump the thing called contract.json at this state. Right. So I'm afraid I don't have that much time. So yeah, we have the contract.json, and then next we start the PACT Stub server. Simple container code that we create the container, Docker container, and from PACT Foundation, and then mount the contract part to the container and start it on the random pod, right? We start random pod. And then we create we start the game client. Since it's the most dirtiest way to start the game client, because we want to start the browser, right? We don't want to render a test. We start the browser via like exec async. We create the command line. We override the server here, and then boom, the magic happened. Below we launch the browser that talk to the client side or Webpack dev server here. Then it's not Webpack, it's Bun dev server. Then after that, we just click on the button, if you notice, right? And then, just expect the result, right? So, I think something gonna flash. Yeah. Yeah, we have 2 test cases, or 3. Or 1 test case fail, maybe I do some modification, but 2 pass. Yeah. So we try to validate the rule based on this thing, right? So 1 test case fail, which is the draw. Maybe I put the wrong term here. And after that, since we end, so I want to show you one thing very cool. This is what we call contract. And this is where the magic happens. This contract is the configure of your mock server or your environment. And this contract can be consumed and used by the server. Right? Server can load this file and use it as their own test. So server side can be sure that when you change something, when you refactor something, you know what to test against your consumer. Right? So unfortunately, we're running out of time, so I will close the session at this point. So anyone have the question?
Does anyone have any questions? You can raise your hand up. I will send the mic to you. I wonder how many test cases can it be? It depends on how we write the Cucumber file.
Yeah, it depends on how many Cucumber or how many scenario you want.
Oh.
Yeah, and you can create this full stack application per one of your scenario.
Oh.
Yeah. As long as your run host machine allowed to do so as well.
But it's kind of like we don't need to specify all the test case by ourselves, but like give it some example and
yeah.
Oh, so the rest will be generated.
Yeah, the rest will be generated.
Okay.
So it is we need to do some manual work, of course, if the interaction are not there. But if the interaction are there, you just reuse whatever the builder have and then just change the parameters.
Oh. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. So
please give an applause. Thank you. Okay.